I'd just like to talk a bit about the structure in which you buy a property, because I think a lot of thought is given to the kind of property you buy. A lot of thought is given to the price you should be paying. A lot of thought is given to what you're going to do that property up. A lot of thought is given to where you're going to find a tenant. But I think not enough thought is given to the structure in which you purchase a property, because there are lots of different structures that you can buy a property in. Now, I am not a financial advisor and I'm not qualified to give financial services advice. So you need to reach out to a professional, an independent financial advisor, your accountant or whoever, to back up what I'm saying and to personalize it to you. So I'm going to only give some very generic kind of think about this kind of advice, and as I said, you must reach out to a professional before you actually make any investment decisions. But the most obvious way, the standard way that I guess people buy property is in their own name. So I go into an estate agent, I see a house I like, I say I'm going to buy it, I then talk to my solicitor and I say I'm going to buy it in the name of Martin Roberts. And all the paperwork and the land registry, it's all in the name of Martin Roberts. Now, the next step up from that could be that I buy it in conjunction with my wife or my partner, in which case you would be a partner, you would have a partnership. So both of you would be registered on the titles. However, if you talk to a solicitor, there are lots of different ways you can structure that. And you can be tenants in common, tenants in it's a very legally complicated thing, again, that you need to speak to your solicitor about. But there might be advantageous ways for you personally to be buying that property. So in partnership with your wife or your partner, it doesn't necessarily mean you just buy it as joint partners, because what happens if somebody dies? What happens if somebody decides they want to sell? What happens if you get divorced? There's lots of things you need to think about, and a good solicitor will advise you on all of that. One of the things which has happened recently is that a lot of the things which you can claim in terms of offsetting costs, especially if you're looking at renting out the property, a lot of those have been taken away from you if you own the property in your own name. So one way around a lot of that can be to own the property in the name of a limited company. So I would set up Martin Roberts Limited and I would buy my properties in the name of that company. That has some advantages, it has disadvantages. You own a company, you have to file company accounts, but then I guess you'd be filing private accounts. But there are lots of reasons why that's a good thing, and there's lots of reasons why that's a bad thing. So again, you need to seek financial advice about setting up a company to buy a property in. But some people buy one property in one company and then that company is sold instead of the property being sold. I mean, it is a structure, and it can be something which has inheritance tax planning advantages. It can be something which has corporate taxation advantages. It can be something which has other sorts of taxation advantages. But again, you need to seek professional advice on that. And another way you might consider buying property is something which is relatively new, and that is in the name of a limited liability partnership, an LLP. And again, this is a bit like a company, but it's slightly different when it comes to rules and regulations, but it can have, again, advantages, especially when it comes to inheritance tax planning. Again, I won't go into too many details on those, but certainly seek advice from a solicitor, an accountant, and a financial advisor before you decide the best route for you to buy a property through. It's not just about buying it in your name.